Hello crafty friends, this is Julia. Thank you so much for joining me for a new card making video. And this one is actually a brand new Challenge a Crafty Friend card with my friend Lien. And for this one, as you maybe can guess, the theme was Halloween. So we're each making a Halloween card. For this one, I'm using the Fawn bats from Fangtastic Friends, as well as the Simply Celebrate Fall stamp set, the little pumpkins as well as the ghosts. And as usual, I'm using my Copic markers to color them in. I'm using YR18, 14, and 12, as well as YR01 for the pumpkins. I'm adding 2 layers of color so that they have some nice dimension. I tried to use YR00 or 000, but that was just way too light, so I decided to go in with YR01 for my highlight shade. And then, as I said, I'm adding a second layer, and I find that the second layer really brings out the definition and the colors. So again, going in with YR18, 14, 12, and 01. I colored the rest of the pumpkins off camera because that was just really repetitive. Then for the bats, I'm using neutral grays, which is my favorite gray combination. So I'm starting with the darkest shade as N9, blending that out with N7, and I made sure to keep most of the darker colors on the wings and keep the body and the face pretty light. And I'm blending that out with N5. Then N3. I'm using a lot more of the N3 on the body and the wings so that the darkest shades are just really at the edge of the image. Then I'm adding in R83 and R81 on the cheeks. And this is the same color I use for the ghosts and the other bat as well. And then I'm also using the R81 inside of the ears of the bat. Then I'm blending out the remaining gray with N1 and N0. And like before, I colored the other bat and the spider off camera because they were all colored with the same combination. I added a second layer for the face just to give it a little bit more definition. And for the green on the pumpkins, I'm using YG61, 63, and 67 for some muted green tones. And for this one, I'm also adding a second layer of the same 3 shades just to give it a bit more definition because they looked still kind of flat. Adding a bit more of the YG67, then 63, and then 61. And for my ghosts, I wanted to have them, have like a little turquoise or like blue-green hue. So I'm using the colorless blender BG quadruple zero, BG 11, and 13. Teal, that was the word I was looking for. Wanted them to have like a teal hue because I thought that would go really well with a purple background. So I'm adding 2 layers of the BG quadruple zero, BG 11, and BG 13, and then I'm blending everything out with a colorless blender. For the background, I used the same purple background that I did in my previous video because I really loved how those clouds looked. So I'm ink blending Shaded Lilac, Villainous Potion, and Black Soot with a cloudy stencil. And this time I had a much easier time because I started from the bottom up, which was way easier than from the top down. Just using the little magnets to hold my cardstock and my stencil in place, and then blending all 3 colors all across the panel. Then I'm adding some black soot all around the edges as well as some Villainous Potion, just so that the background looks a little bit more dramatic, and then I also added some Shaded Lilac over the areas that were still white. and I really like how the Villainous potion all around the edges really brought it together. I didn't worry about the bottom too much because I knew I would be adding a grassy panel there, and then I'm adding some splatters of the black soot and the Villainous potion. Honestly, I could have gone with either color because in the end you really can't see the difference between the black and the purple dots, but you know, you live and learn. Then I set that one off to dry, and once it was dry, I added the black grass panel. I die cut the giant trick or treat, once out of black cardstock and once out of black fun foam, and I'm layering the two so that the sentiment has lots of dimension, just making sure it lines up nicely. And then I realized I wanted the pumpkins not in front of the grass, but behind, like peeking out behind the grass. So just, since I used tape runner, it was really easy to peel it back up, adding my cute little pumpkins. I had to add some more tape runner, and that was that. Then I added some glue, little dots of glue all over the sentiment, and I added that basically in the center of the remaining free area. Pressed that down, and now it was already time to add my cute little images. I added the little pumpkin basket to one of the bats, and then I'm adding foam squares because that would make the images the same height as the sentiment. And then I'm adding the little ghosties up top, and I was going to just add a few of them, and then I figured I had already colored all of them, so I just added all of the images I colored onto the card. I had some ghosties peeking out behind the pumpkins, and then I added the final little bat on the bottom, and I trimmed off some of the string from the spider so that it looks like it's coming out below the little T. And then I wanted to add some more interest and glitter to the sentiment, so I covered half of the bottom half of the trick and treat letters with Nouveau crystal glaze. And then I'm just sprinkling in the Lawn Fawn Prisma glitter and the Lawn Fawn chunky glitter. Just sprinkling it into the wet crystal glaze, and I set that off to dry. Once it was dry, I just snipped it from behind so that any excess glitter would fall off, and the remaining glitter is sealed into the crystal glaze, and I really like how that looks, and that already finishes off my card for today. I had so much fun making this. I will be sure to leave a link to Lien's video down below. I'm sure hers will be amazing as usual, and I really hope you enjoyed this one. I will be back soon with a brand new video, and I hope I'll see you again next time. Until then, have an amazing day and happy Halloween. Bye!